All right, Dad, 2013 was a big year for us. Just give an overview of 39 years of racing and what it was like yesterday to get first and second.
Well, that was something I probably never figured we'd ever get to do, is race in the same division, so that was kind of different.
Tell me about your run in the bad weather and the fog.
It was, we had to put rain tires on because it was a wet road. I never did run in any rain going up, but the road was definitely wet, probably 40% of the time. So not running on rain tires ever before, it was pretty interesting. But we did find out we had a clutch problem, so it wasn't the idea of traction so much as our clutch was actually slipping.
So we had clutch problems, and you'd never driven on rain tires before, and you had an incident with a spectator on the bottom, and you still beat me.
No, it was actually a pretty smooth run. When you got weather conditions like that, you just have a tendency, you got to slow up a little bit, and sometimes you go a little faster.
By staying smooth and straight. Why don't you talk about the difference between the dirt and now the pavement?
I definitely like the dirt as far as driving. I think it takes a lot more technique on driving it on dirt, but I actually feel safer on the asphalt, because if you do get in trouble, especially braking wise, if you have the brakes to get it walled down, you can get it stopped. With old days on dirt, if you found yourself going too fast into a turn, you probably wouldn't get it stopped.
What was the first year you went to Pikes Peak?
1972, in a 1971 Ford Bronco. They had a class called four-wheel drive production, and we was lucky enough to win that the first year, and we won it in 1973 also.
So you won your first 2 years on Pikes Peak.
Yep.
You won Pikes Peak Open in 2011, and then second place in 2012, and first place again in 2013.
Yeah, and then I think we run the expedition class. I believe we won that 3 times in the expedition class.
7 wins in 39 years. What was the first year you watched Pikes Peak?
1960.
And then when did you start working on cars or getting involved?
1966. I worked on a 66 Ford Fairlane for Phil Long Ford.
You ran propane for 12 years, broke your own propane record several times, and then last year you set your personal best and new propane record.
Yeah, actually last year was my fastest run up, because I just barely made it. We had a little rain and sleet on top, but I had such a good run that it probably didn't slow me up that much. So actually last year was my fastest trip up ever on Pikes Peak.
What was your fastest time then?
I believe it was 11:11.
11:11. Propane record and your personal best.
Yep.
40 years is coming up next year, 40 years racing Pikes Peak. What do you think that means?
Well, it'll be a milestone, because the record was held by Uncle Louis Unser at 37, I believe. And we beat that, of course, a couple of years ago. So I think 40 would be a good year to make it an even 40 years to retire. And I also like to thank all our sponsors, and most of these sponsors have been with us for years and years, just not a couple of years. D's RV, and it goes back to the mid-'80s. Gunner at Huberger Motors has been with us over 20 years. Glazer Gas, of course, came in and helped us with the propane setup, and we really thank him for all his help. Yeah, also I'd like to thank all the team. A lot of our crew members have been with us for 20, 25 years, so that's great. We got a good crew, and to work on both cars, it's kind of double demanding. 2013
was the best year we've ever had at Trans Racing. It was awesome. The Mike Monte Carlo was really fast. The Geico Chevrolet was amazing. We were the fastest car all week long in practice and in qualifying. Dad was right behind me, qualified second. And then we had a little problem with my car in the ignition, shut off for a few seconds, which really made the race even tighter. And so we finished first and second in the Pikes Peak Open division in the 2013 91st running of the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. What a fantastic year.